day. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking us along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you as always. Welcome in on this Wednesday morning Hump Day edition.
Hump Day.
Of course, there is Justin Kalen, high atop the crew chief's box as always. Lots to get to on the program today. Keith Lander, father of five-star IU recruit Christian Lander, on the program with us. We'll get a perspective from a parent's perspective. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com will talk a little spring football and lots to talk about, of course. Indiana basketball back on the court tomorrow. The Big Ten tournament underway now. Lots to talk about. Before we do all that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your daily Hoosier headlines for this 13th day of March 2019. Couple of surprising trades in the NFL yesterday as the Browns get Odell Beckham Jr. for former Michigan player Jabril Peppers and a first and a third-round pick. The all going to the Jets for 4 years, $52.5 million. Former Hoosier Roger Saffold and former Ram gets a 4-year, $44 million deal from the Titans. St. Mary's knocks off Gonzaga to steal a tournament bid. And Big Ten tournament underway today as Nebraska and Rutgers tip off at 6:30. That game will be followed by Northwestern and Illinois. Those are a look at your daily Hoosier headlines for this 13th day of March 2019. For more information, make sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
And lots going on today. The Big Ten tournament gets underway, as you just heard Justin say. What time's the first game, Justin?
6:30.
6:30 this evening. The underlings of the conference playing today. Basically, this is the play-in portion of the tournament. They let everybody play, of course. Indiana tomorrow, noon 30, taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes at full strength. It ought to be a battle.
Yeah.
Indiana's road to redemption and the NCAA tournament got a little bit more difficult with the return of Mr. Wesson for the Buckeyes. Then, of course, if Indiana can get past that test, they return noon 30 on Friday to take on the Michigan State Spartans, a team they have dispatched twice already. Of course, we all know the age-old adage in sports. It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Yep.
I don't know why. If you can beat them twice, why not beat them 3 times? You've already proven you're pretty much better than they are.
Yeah.
But lots getting under. Indiana's fate is in their own hands. You heard Jay Billis on here yesterday. Not quite as inspired as to Indiana's possibilities right now, I think, as people that are closer to the program.
Yeah.
Indiana, I'm not sure if they have to win that second game or not. I'll tell you what it depends on. It depends on whether teams like St. Mary's are going to jump up and steal bids or not.
Yeah.
That's a major pain in the backside for Indiana right there. That is not what you want to see happen. St. Mary's is not a team that was going to be in the tournament more than likely, I don't think. What's their record?
I'm looking that up right now.
Because they're not terrible. Obviously, they beat Gonzaga.
22-11.
So they
wouldn't have got
were going to
in.
be probably not, but you never know. They've been a tournament team before. That's Evan Fitzner's old team.
Yeah.
So Evan Fitzner's old team threw a little wrench in the deal for Indiana. That's one less spot that's available.
How does Gonzaga, the number one team in the country, score 47? 47.
Weak.
They're
not that great,
no.
man. They're not that good. It's the same thing every year.
Every
Gonzaga
year.
goes out, they beat the crap out of the people in the no Western Conference that nobody belongs to, that nobody knows about, that Portland State's in, and all these other teams. And they go 27-2, and we're number 2 in the country, and then we lose in the tournament. because you don't play anybody. How many quad wins does Gonzaga have?
Great question.
But now, and so you've got to, yeah, this is a problem for Indiana. If this happens too much, it doesn't matter whether they beat Michigan State or not. There has to be room for you to get in. And these bid stealers certainly make a difference. But hopefully it won't be an issue. Indiana beats Michigan State, it doesn't matter what happens, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and at this point,
but it is going to be a tough task to beat Michigan State for a third time now that Nick Ward has returned, because now Michigan State's going to be not at full strength, but pretty much at full strength with the return of Ward, because Tillman's been playing pretty damn well also.
Yeah.
You were going to say something?
I was just trying to think of that. I absolutely forgot.
Hit the text line. Like Joker, Zags equals Purdue. And I lost it.
You don't even need to read any more of that tweet or that text. That's perfect.
Equals March failure. Two teams that the Zags at least are not a power. They were what you'd call a mid-major that got strong, like Butler did about the time Butler did.
Mm-hmm.
When Butler rose up and was doing great things from a mid-major standpoint. Don't think you can consider Butler a mid-major anymore. They've been to the championship game a couple of times.
Yeah.
They had the greatest coach in college basketball at that time.
You think he comes back to college basketball eventually?
I don't know. He doesn't have to recruit. It's a different ball game in a lot of ways.
Easier job and you get paid more at the NBA level.
I'm not going to say it's easier.
Well, you got to do
different.
Well, how would it be harder?
Stress is just as higher, I think, though, because you're getting paid more. There's more. The players are being paid more than you are. It's not as easy as it sounds.
Oh, and you're playing triple the games, which not always accustomed to.
Yeah, but you're going to be working regardless.
Yeah.
You know, these guys work year-round regardless. They're not doing the recruiting, which some coaches don't want to do that, don't like to do that. So I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe if he achieves what he wants to achieve at the NBA level, then he'll want to come back to college. Who knows? He may have Indiana in his sights for the future. You know, he's from Zionsville. Maybe it's something that he wants to do at some point in his career.
Oh, he's came out and said he wants to do that at some point in his career.
When the timing is right.
Yeah.
When the timing is right. Hey, keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling. Homegrown company serving Southern Indiana since 1995. You can reach them at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Our good friend John Sweetland at Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling. Keep life sweet. One of our great sponsors. We appreciate them so much. You know, make sure you take care of those that take care of us. That helps bring the show to you. Helps bring the coverage to you. The only all IU show that there is. Make sure you take care of Sweetland Waste Removal. Take care of Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. Another Southern Indiana homegrown company that's been serving Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors J and Roger Reynolds take care of your family. Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. 809 Indiana Avenue, South Indiana Avenue. Another great sponsor of Indiana Sports Beat. We couldn't be here without them.
Solo Roger Reynolds at Lagodi this weekend, watching the Lanesville and Regional.
Ah, yes. Old Griff was battling.
Yep.
The Eagles. and Jay, Roger Jr., coaching. Make sure you take care of those people, though. That's who brings you the IU coverage. Don't forget it. You can like or follow us on Facebook to catch the rebroadcast of the show. If you don't catch it live, can't catch it all. iTunes, Apple Play, almost said Apple Pie, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play. TheDailyHoosier.com. You can always find us at IndianaSportsBeat.com, any episode, and at TheGruelingTruth.net. You can follow me on Twitter at Jim Coyle ISB. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Comments, questions for our guest today. Keith Lander's on the show, father of Christian Lander, 5-star shooting guard out of Evansville Wrights High School. Matt Weaver joins us as well from Peegs.com. We're talking some spring football as that is also underway. Plenty to talk about. Indiana starts their tournament run tomorrow in the Big Ten as they'll take on the Ohio State Buckeyes at 12:30 up at Chicago's United Center. Former home of Michael Jordan and the Bulls. The Bulls are still there.
I was about to say.
Michael Jordan's not.
How do you feel about the 12:30 game? You in favor of that?
Well, in tournament, I understand. Somebody's got to play at 12:30. You got too many games. You got to spread it out. And that's part of it. Yeah. It's like back in high school, sectionals and regionals. You know, those early games they were just early. Not so much in the sectional, but once you got to regional play, those first games, Saturday games, were 11, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Got to be. You got to play again that night. Now, that's a different case here, but it's because there's other teams playing. But it's just no choice because of the tournament situation. So, I don't know. I guess I'd rather play at 12:30 than 9 o'clock.
Right.
You got less to distract you, less to take the energy away from you. Of course, you got to get up and started earlier. It's a different routine, but yeah, somebody's got to play it. At least they're playing it 2 days in a row. They're not playing a 12:30 game one day and a 9 o'clock game the next day.
Right.
So at least as of right now, they're playing back to back.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the early games, the 12:30 games. I mean, you get that whole day. Team wins, you're in a good mood the rest of the day. But then on the reverse of that, team loses, it could also get you in a bad mood the rest of the day. But at least it's over early.
Next, we got a lot to talk about too. Did you see the Russell Westbrook thing? Remember that? They had an issue with the fan.
Uh-huh.
The fan said something to him, and there was words said, and that. That fan has been banned for life.
Perfect.
As he should be. Gotten rid of. Moron. Russell Westbrook, fined $25,000. They have to do something.
Well, and I'm fine with Westbrook being fined as long as there was repercussions for the fan as well. So I'm glad to hear that there were for the fan.
Absolutely. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. That's what happens when you got them that close. That's what you get. You got people sticking their arms in the cages, man. Somebody's going to get bitten. It's just a fact. But the biggest news, did you see the college admissions sports scandal?
Don't believe so.
Coaches in different sports, the Yale soccer coach,
oh yes,
coaches at UCLA, USC, helping people get admitted to schools, taking money by listing them as being recruited, which allowed them easier access to be admitted into the school, whether it was Yale or whatever, and then they were being paid on top of that for doing that. It's a big deal. I mean, people are getting paid much bigger money than the Adidas scandal. One person paid $1.2 million, I think, to get their kid into Yale.
It's insane.
Is that nuts?
That is.
It's crazy. These coaches are pocketing like hundreds of thousands of dollars for doing this. And some of these are big-time coaches. The UCLA men's soccer coach has been caught up in this.
It's a guy
That's a big-time program.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy, I believe, that spent some time with the U.S. soccer team.
Indiana plays UCLA generally.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Hey, we got a lot to get to today. Keith Lander's on the show, father of Christian Lander, 5-star Indiana recruit from Evansville Wrights High School. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. We're going to talk some spring football. Lots to get to. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Today's guest is brought
to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
Be a loser, so I'm aiming to keep my money tight or become a has-been. Talking about I used to, I bruise dudes, rapping the rookies from you.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us. Joined now by the incomparable Jay Billis from ESPN. Jay, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You are a busy man, I know, and I thank you again for joining us. But this is the heart of the season for you, and actually the funnest time for anybody that works in this business. The tournament that gets ready to get started. A lot of questions, a lot of excitement, and just a lot of teams that are up in the air right now.
Yeah, but that's the job, so that makes it fun.
Absolutely, and some of the things that are not so much fun is the FBI stuff that has hit the NCAA this year. A lot of teams are going to be affected, but sometimes it seems like teams that are involved, Arizona's been mentioned, Kansas has been mentioned, but we've seen teams like when North Carolina got off a little bit easy. Does the NCAA seem a little reluctant to hit the bigger name teams when it comes to things like this?
No, those are totally different things. You're talking about, in one breath, you mentioned the FBI and then mentioned North Carolina. North Carolina has nothing to do with that. That was
right.
So those are completely different things. And in North Carolina's case, the rules didn't cover what happened with North Carolina. And other academic issues that had been like that, where they were curriculum-based, the rules don't cover that. So when there had been that kind of situation in the past, the NCAA never brought a case. They were embarrassed by some of the statements they had made and some of the stances that they had taken, so they decided to try to prosecute North Carolina with no case, and they got beat. That's all it was. There was nothing in the rules to cover that, and people that didn't understand the rules said, well, wait a minute, this person got cheated or that got punished for cheating on a test, and why was this not done? They just don't understand the rules. And it was explained at the time. I was one of those that was at the beginning saying there's no case here, and the NCAA made a mess of it, and they wound up holding the bag at the end of it because they were, frankly, they were feckless in the way they went after it. It was just really, really dumb, and they paid the price for it.
Absolutely. And then this year, the basketball season has been one of craziness. You've got the Big Ten, which is one of the, if not the best conference top to bottom. Then you've got the ACC, which is without a doubt the best conference at the top with Virginia, North Carolina, and Duke, and those teams. And then you've got a team like Indiana that is in the Big Ten, of course, and went through a horrible stretch where they lost 12 out of 13 games, but they've righted their ship, so to speak, and they're still in the talk for an NCAA berth if they continue to win. That's a strange thing for us to see, a team with 14, 15 wins, but still be talked about as being a good tournament team.
Yeah, I don't know how good, but we'll see. As far as a good tournament team as to whether they get in, I think it's still a pretty big hurdle to get over the amount of losses, and so I think it'll be a difficult task for the committee to put Indiana in, because you're going to have to put them in over some other teams that have better, sort of better records. It's just a question of what are you going to value? You're going to value some good wins, or are you going to count up the incredible amount of losses? But it's really, if you look historically, Indiana probably wouldn't make it historically, but it's not a historical thing. It's more about this year. So comparing them against the other teams that are going to be in the pool, I'd be surprised if Indiana's not one of the last teams that gets in. If they do, but I would not be surprised at all if they're left out.
And because of the way they played, they had national games against Duke earlier in the year when they did not exactly look their best in that game, to say the least. So the national media, the national response to this team is probably not one that gives them a lot of margin for error, I wouldn't think.
That has nothing to do with it. The people nationally and locally have watched and evaluated every game. So I don't think that's an issue. I think the issue is how good is the team? And you can, at the end of the day, you have to go by the record. And Indiana's record's not very good. And putting in a team that's so far underwater in conference play is going to be a big leap for this committee. Now, they say that it's full body of work, so your conference record shouldn't matter. But it does. I just think it's going to be. I think they're going to look at this very carefully, obviously, but I think it's going to be a big hurdle for everyone that votes to vote in a team that's lost as many games as Indiana or Texas, or and there are a couple other teams, Alabama. And the one thing Indiana has going for it is oddly enough, they've won some games against good teams. But that's counterbalanced by losing so many games, and it's not like they've only lost to good teams. They've lost to some teams where you're shaking your head, going, "How did that happen?"
Yeah, they lost to Minnesota badly. They lost at home to Nebraska, and I know you don't. Indiana's just one of the teams that you cover on a national basis. But from that perspective, if you remember a team that has had the quality of wins that this Indiana team has, and the losses, the head scratching losses that they have as well.
Not the wild swings, no. You've seen teams that have had wins, like the 2 wins against Michigan State. There are certain games where a team may have your number, and so it's been hard. That may be a head scratcher to say, well, wait a minute. But it's the number of losses and then the quality of loss, because some of the losses you're like, well, wait a minute. You can't, on one hand, it's hard to argue that, wait a minute, the team that beat Michigan State, we're really good. And then, but you're also the team that lost to this litany of teams that aren't so good. And that's a tougher road to hoe there, I think. But, it just depends on what each committee member is going to value. And I think if, it's going to be really important for Indiana that all of the top teams that are remaining in these smaller conferences win their conference tournaments. That if you've got a league where just like last night, it was fortunate for Indiana that Wofford won. If UNC Greensboro had won, Wofford's getting in anyway. So now UNC Greensboro is going to be a team that's compared to Indiana. Is Greensboro better? And that's going to be the task of the committee.
Absolutely. Talked about that earlier. Those bid stealers out there. We're talking with Jay Billis from ESPN. Obviously, during the basketball season is crazy for you. Tons of traveling, studying, all you preparing for games constantly. But how much does that ramp up now as the conference tournament starts, the ACC tournament starts, and then the NCAA tournament after that? How much does your year just really ramp up right now?
Not at all, really. The work's already done. So I've seen all these teams. There's very little to do now. Now more, it's just sorting a few things out. And, so there may be discussion about, hey, is this team a 1 seed? Is this team this? Or, does Indiana get in the tournament? Stuff like that. But it really has, there's nothing to prepare for anymore as far as, geez, I really need to get to know this team. That there may be a couple of teams that were to get in. Like I haven't watched a ton of Bradley. I watched a little bit of tape of them, but I'll do a little bit of work on Bradley. But you weren't expecting maybe a 5 seed out of the Missouri Valley Conference that had no shot of making the tournament and doesn't have any pros on it. You're not watching them day in, day out. So there'll be a little bit of work there, but there are very few of those teams that you haven't seen.
For people to get a good understanding, how much game do you have to watch? You do the games the games that you're calling and the games that you're preparing for, obviously, but it's the games that you're not calling that you still have to have knowledge of. How much time do you have to spend in just researching teams that you're not even playing or calling?
Oh God, I watch hundreds of games a year. Some I watch a lot of Synergy. It's a scouting service that NBA and college teams use. So I do that so I can watch whatever I want, whenever I want. And then, as the year goes on, it's pretty clear pretty early on, probably by January, you have a pretty good idea that, wait a minute, this team here is not any good. I'm not going to have to worry about this. And so I watch teams that have pros because of the NBA draft. So I spend a lot of time scouting players. And then the teams that I know are good. But if you're in the bottom third of Division I, I'm not staying up to watch your games, and I don't think anybody would quarrel with that. But that's my point about Bradley. Like Bradley's not been on the radar all year long. They don't have any pros on their team, so they wound up winning their doing well in their tournament. And I've known Brian Wardle. I know a couple of the players, but I'm gonna have to do a little bit more homework on them. But that's sort of my point is the overwhelming majority of the field I know back. I feel like I know backwards and forwards.
And which is always handy because you never know who's going to win on a particular night as the this crazy tournament goes forward. Who's the team that you think gets in this year that's going to shock people in the tournament?
Wofford they may shock people that aren't paying attention, but Wofford's really good. They're really good, and could they be a Davidson-like team? It's possible. And then the other teams, if people have been watching at all, like Buffalo is excellent. Nevada's an outstanding team. So teams like that are going to, I think, do really well in the tournament. Houston is a team that I think very highly of. That just about Michigan had to make a 30-footer to beat them last year in the tournament in the second round. Otherwise, Houston would have been a Sweet 16 team. So I think there are a number of teams that don't have the name that we're used to, and then there are a number of name teams that frankly aren't as good as they've been in the past. But it's not. I'm not sure how good some of the middling teams are that we're going to see in the tournament that usually they get in, but they're not as good as they've been in the past. So. We could have some upsets, but then we could also have some of the blue bloods that rip through this thing. We'll have to see, and that's what makes the tournament great. But there are a couple of teams, like I mentioned, that have a chance to get to the Final Four, where in years past they wouldn't have had a chance.
Talking with Jay Billis from ESPN, the Big Ten is arguably the best conference top to bottom this year, but I'm not sure that I see a national champion team in there. Not that they're not great. Michigan's been great. Purdue's had a great year. Michigan State, obviously, with some injuries. But I'm just not sure I've seen somebody that can really to rip through the field and win the national championship. But I don't know much. But what are your thoughts on the Big Ten's ability to win a national championship?
I think it's there. I think that Michigan State can. I agree with you. They've had injuries that make you question that a little bit as to whether they can do it for 6 games. I thought very highly of Michigan, still do throughout the course of the year, but they're not as good offensively as I think a championship team needs to be. But that doesn't mean they can't do what teams are going to continue to get better through the tournament too. Like the idea that they can't improve through the tournament is wrong. They can. And Purdue's really good on the offensive end. They're efficient. They can shoot it. And they've got a star in Carson Edwards. But I'm not one of those that thinks the Big Ten is the best league in the country because they've got so many teams that are similar. I think you have to have a little more power at the top to be the best league. But it's certainly been incredibly competitive. But there's still teams that are incredibly beatable down near the bottom, and so I tend to think the ACC is the best league, but because it's got the most championship contenders that have a legit chance to win it. But reasonable minds can differ on that kind of stuff.
And Duke obviously is one of those teams. With Zion coming back probably for the tournament, or do they cut the nets down?
Depends on whether he's the same player. If he's the same player, they're perfectly capable of doing that. But they also have another guy that's hurt. Marquise Bolden, their big guy, got injured in the game against North Carolina, so he's not going to be available for the ACC tournament, and it could be longer. So you don't know how that's going to go. It's certainly going to affect them. It's not a death knell or anything. But I like Duke's chances with Zion Williamson healthy. I thought they were the best team in the country with him. Without him, they clearly weren't. But you never know how things are going to gel when somebody comes back in this short a time period, because it's all you have to do is have one bad game and the year's over.
Jay, I thank you so much for joining us. I wish you the best of luck rest of the season, and thank you very much for joining us today, Jay Billis.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. Jay Billis from ESPN joining us here on the program. Thank you very much to Jay.
And that was Jay Billis. Appreciate him joining us on the show program yesterday. Talk some NCAA basketball and his expectations coming up for the NCAA tournament. Great to hear his insight there. But we will be back with more Indiana Sports Beat right after this short break. Stick around.
He sees homies as he passed, but if he looks twice, the gun
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This hour of Indiana Sports Beat is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. With hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle with you as always here on this Wednesday edition.
Hump Day.
Justin Kalen, hot top of Crew Chief's box as always. Hope you're having a great day, and we've got you midway through the week. Hopefully it can help you jettison on out to the end. Keith Landers on the show today. Christian Landers' dad. He's the 5-star recruit from Evansville Wrights High School. Matt Weaver, Peaks.com, joins us talking on spring football. Russell Westbrook fined $25,000 by the NBA. The Jazz fan has been banned permanently for the altercation that took place there the other night.
Now that's only at OKC, right? He's not banned from all NBA games.
Was that in OKC or was that in Utah?
It might have been. It was in Utah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Utah fan. Banned from those games. If you're a hunter, Dick's Sporting Goods said it will stop selling firearms at 125 of its stores, further pulling back from the business after the retailer decided last year to tighten its policies around gun sales. Wow. Dick's has struggled with declining sales since Chief Executive Officer Ed Stack publicly decided to stop selling guns to buyers under 21 and take assault-style weapons out of stores after a fatal school shooting in Parkland, Florida last year. Dick's is also working to stem sluggish sales as more shoppers buy sporting goods online.
That's interesting.
Just like Walmart. Oh, no, Walmart still has guns, don't they?
I think so, yeah. But, I mean, it makes sense for Dick's to get rid of them. I mean, if your owner doesn't believe in it and you've got stores like Bass Pro and Cabela's around, yeah, I mean, maybe not the best
market. But if your sales are slacking, I would think that anything that could be used to bring sales in would be beneficial.
That's true.
I mean, it's their deal.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Nothing bigger going on, though, than the wealthy parents and celebrities caught up and coaches embroiled in the alleged college entrance cheating scam. Federal prosecutors charged dozens of wealthy parents, including prominent law and business figures, 2 Hollywood actresses, with using bribes and bogus entrance exams and faked athletic achievements to get their children admitted to elite colleges. One New York law firm co-chairman allegedly paid $75,000 to an admissions consultant so his daughter could fly to Los Angeles to take the ACT in a private room last December.
Sketchy.
I missed, accompanied by a proctor who had been paid to correct her errors. So basically, that would be me in college and someone following me going, oh, hey, Jim, you got to change that. That's wrong. Oh, hey, Jim, you got to change that. That's wrong. Oh, hey, Jim, you got to change that. That's wrong. Fixing every answer for you. Another family allegedly made a $400,000 contribution to a sham charity in 2016, with a portion of the funds funneled to then head tennis coach at Georgetown University in exchange for having their daughter tagged as a recruit athlete. She was admitted to the school. The Yale soccer coach did that. He accepted $400,000. And then there was another situation, I think, where an FBI agent was acting as someone, and he had said would take $450,000 to do it again. These guys are getting paid just unbelievable amounts of money to say that their kids are being recruited. It gets them into the schools, these schools. And we're talking millions and millions of dollars being paid out on this stuff, man.
Is that because they grew up with celebrity parents and their kids are idiots and they can't get into school themselves? I mean, I just don't understand the need for all this.
Well, that's probably part of it, but part of the fact is we're talking about places like Yale, where it's just very difficult to get in.
Well, and you would think the administration there, whoever's taking in all that money, was smart enough to know better. I mean, that's a little sketchy.
The administration didn't know anything about it. They were listed as that's the thing. Yeah. That's the scam of it. They were listed as a recruited athlete, which puts them in a different class, I guess you'd say, as far as getting in. Oh, you're an athlete. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, just come on in. You're in as long as you cover this portion, I guess. I'm not sure how it works, but it's a lot easier. The restrictions and the difficulties that it takes to get in are lifted when you're a recruited athlete.
Yeah.
Prosecutors allege parents funneled bribes through a nonprofit organization, which was paying pretty much everybody. This one guy was a consultant of sorts, but he would facilitate everything happening. Felicity Huffman, remember her from Desperate Housewives?
Oh, yeah.
Lori Loughlin from Full House, both caught up in this. It's nuts.
Tim texts into the show and says, I wonder how long the scam has been going on.
Don't know. Apparently I'm out of the loop. Instagram star caught up in turmoil. Olivia Jade Glonanilli. No idea who this is.
Me neither.
Attractive. But when she started her freshman year at USC last fall, she wasn't just looking forward to the typical college rites of passage. I'm most excited to meet new people, the teenager told Teen Vogue, and change up my content on YouTube with blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she was apparently involved in this too.
Athletics are so shady nowadays.
Well, this is not even athletics. It's just athletics being used.
Right.
None of these people are athletes. They're just using the athletic course to get in.
Maybe that's the road they saw fit.
Well, someone saw fit because they could make money doing it.
Yeah.
Man, any way to make $1 now.
Or 400,000.
Or 400,000. Exactly. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Like Joker did, if I can get it pulled up. Oh, that's the old one. Sorry. Well, make sure you like or follow us on Facebook. You can find the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Apple Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, thedailyhoosier.com, indianasportsbeat.com, or thegruelingtruth.net. You can follow me on Twitter at Jim Coyle ISB. Complete coverage. Indiana starts playing the Big Ten tournament tomorrow, 12:30, against the Ohio State Buckeyes. It's going to be a tough game, man.
Yeah. Very tough.
I think Indiana's the better team, and if Indiana plays like they've been playing, they're fine. But they have to continue to play like they have been playing. There's no let up whatsoever. None. They can't let up because A, they have to win. B, even if they lose to, say, Michigan State, they can't have a let up. They have to go down swinging.
Yeah.
You have to show the committee that you're playing at a high level. Losing to Michigan State is not a big deal. They're a top 10 team. They're a Big Ten champion. You've beaten them twice already. They're getting Nick Ward back. It wouldn't be the biggest loss in the world, and I don't think it would hurt them bad enough to keep them out of the tournament. I think they're in. If they beat Ohio State, I think they're in.
I still think they've got to play close with Michigan State. They can't get blown out.
I just said that.
Okay.
I just said they can't basically get their butt kicked.
Then yeah, I agree.
But just losing is not going to do anything. I mean, just losing to the Big Ten champion whom you beat 2 out of 3 times, you're not going to get punished for that. Right. But yeah, you can't get slaughtered. You have to show that you're playing competitively with the top teams, which they have been. As a matter of fact, they probably should have had a 6-game winning streak right now that includes wins over 4 ranked teams, because they should have easily beaten Iowa and Purdue in that stretch where they lost the first 2 of these games right before they went on this 4-game winning streak. Yeah. Easily should have won those games. That would have increased this winning streak to 6 with wins over 4 ranked teams. There are teams that don't have a win over a ranked team, period. Yeah. And I'm just talking about Indiana coming off of the losing streak, what they've done. That's why they're in the NCAA tournament talk.
Well, and you look at Ohio State, it's almost the complete opposite for them. They've lost 3 straight, lost 3 of their last 4. They've actually lost 6 of their last 8. So a team that's not playing very well, Indiana, got to take advantage of that tomorrow. And you'd hate to have a letdown against Ohio State because then, like you said, you're definitely out of the tournament.
Yeah, you can't. There's no letdowns. Joker texted in. He was referring back to the segment with Jay Billis. Jay says that Watford is good. Watford lost to UNC by 11, to Oklahoma by 11, to Kansas by 25, to Mississippi State by 11. They beat South Carolina by 20. As far as I can tell, they have one win against a Power 5 conference. Not a good team in my eyes. Will most likely lose their first round in the NCAA tournament. Joker also texted, cash money under the table and no taxes on it. If they've got it in under being a recruit but couldn't get in on their own, then it is in a form of discrimination or favoritism to athletes that are not allowed. NCAA rules. No, this is more of a bribery thing.
Yeah.
They're skirting the system. They're getting kids in by saying they're recruits when they're not, and they don't ever play. And it doesn't affect the school, but it allows these kids to get in under the softened admissions standards. And in the process, these coaches and facilitators are taking hundreds of thousands of dollars to make this happen. That's the problem.
There was one situation where I can't remember whose kid it was, but got a whole athletic portfolio and how good she was on the soccer field and how competitive she was playing soccer. The chick never played soccer. Not once did she play soccer in high school. So I don't know, man. This whole thing is just crazy.
That was probably the UCLA case, or USC case, rather.
Yeah, it was the USC case, yeah.
But that's what we're talking about, man. That's why it's against the law. But, man, people find a way to make some bucks.
Yeah.
In any way they can.
Makes you think, huh?
Archie met with the media yesterday, or the players met with the media yesterday as well.
They did.
And?
Trying to find something that's worth playing. There was a lot of good sound from that press conference yesterday. A lot of the guys said a lot of good things about the Big Ten tournament. One thing that was interesting, they actually asked each player what it meant to them to be able to play in postseason and hopefully have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament.
I would say just getting the opportunity to really, or for me to be able to play in my hometown and then being able to compete. And, really everything that's happened in the past is kind of off the table. And so it's kind of like a new season. It gives everybody a new shot, a new opportunity to really do whatever they want to do when it comes to the postseason. So, we're looking forward to, starting it off with the bang and doing what we know we can do.
So that was Justin Smith. Interesting for him to go back to his hometown and play in the United Center. That's got to be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I would think. Hopefully he can play like he's been playing here of late.
Yeah.
And provide the punch that Indiana needs. But Justin Smith is from the Chicago area. Hopefully that gives him a little boost for that reason to play harder. Indiana, this is a team that could do something in this tournament now, but it's not going to be an easy road at all. You start out with a decent team in Ohio State. Then you move on to Michigan State. And if you get past them, it's not going to get any easier.
Yeah. You got Wisconsin waiting for you or Michigan.
You would have to basically play four. Is Ohio State, are they ranked right now?
They are not.
They're not.
No.
Well, they're a decent team, but if you get past Ohio State, you would have to play 3 ranked teams in a row.
Yeah. Well, and the players were asked about that as well. Deron Davis took it upon himself to answer that question, just how tough of a road they face here.
Yeah, I feel like, we just been, like you said, we've been playing with our backs against the wall. I feel like we're not really focused on if any other teams have wins or losses or what their schedule is or what they need to do to get into the tournament. I feel like this whole week and the last 2 weeks we just been focused on us and how hard we go in practice and how hard we play.
Deron Davis talking about as the Hoosiers head into the Big Ten tournament play starting tomorrow. 12:30. You can hear that right here. We've got a lot more coming up here on the program today. Keith Lander joins us, father of Christian Lander. Also, Matt Weaver from Peaks.com is going to be on with us as well. Plenty more to talk about. College basketball. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back with more after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal
Honey, you want to
Service,
give me a
a
hand?
homegrown
I'm
company
planting that
serving
tree,
Southern
remember?
Indiana since
No matter how large
1995.
or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Also, an even better start. Lots to get to on the program today. Keith Lander joins us, father of Christian Lander, 5-star athlete, recruit from Wrights High School in Evansville. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com joined us. We're going to talk some spring football. We got a lot of basketball to talk as well. A lot of things to get to. Before we do all that, though, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your daily Hoosier headlines for this 13th day of March 2019. Couple of surprising trades in the NFL yesterday as the Browns get Odell Beckham Jr. for former Michigan player Jabril Peppers and a first and a third-round pick. Le'Veon Bell going to the Jets for 4 years, $52.5 million. Former Hoosier and former Ram Roger Saffold gets 4 years, $44 million from the Titans. And St. Mary's knocks off Gonzaga to steal a tournament bid. Big Ten tournament underway today as Nebraska and Rutgers tip off at 6:30, followed by Northwestern Illinois. Those are a look at your daily Hoosier headlines for this 13th day of March 2019. For more information, make sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
How about the Pacers, man? They continue to roll. They beat the Knicks last night, 103-98, as they are comfortably in second place in the NBA Central standings, 43-25 on the season. They have been cruising right along without Victor Oladipo. I can't believe that.
Victor Oladipo had a video came out yesterday. Did you see that?
I did not.
He was started sitting on a box at the top of the key, drilled a three, hops off the box, starts walking over towards the right wing, gets a shot, hits that one as well. Of course he's not jumping because he had a knee injury. And between his box and getting to the right wing, he says, you got to crawl before you can walk. And then he hits that three, walks over to the right corner, drills another three, starts walking back to the camera, and he was like, and you got to walk before you can run. It was really neat just to see him putting up shots and actually still hitting.
Well, something that's not as exciting in the NBA, Russell Westbrook involved with an altercation in a fan the other night out at Utah, and he has been fined $25,000, but the fan has been banned by the Jazz for life for the interaction, which is a good deal. I mean, I think you've got to eliminate that stuff. You've got, as I call it, you got people reaching their arms through the cages now. At games with them sitting courtside and whatnot, and it's just not a good situation.
No, and it's not fair for the players either to be integrated to that sort of thing.
Nope, not at all. Justin mentioned St. Mary's a bid stealer last night as they knocked off Gonzaga to win that conference tournament. That does not help Indiana.
No,
Indiana does not want to see teams like St. Mary's stealing bids, and by stealing bids we mean a team that's not likely to make the NCAA tournament, but because they win their conference tournament, they're going to get in. And that conference tournament is expected to be won by someone else, like i.e. Gonzaga, who has been in the top 5 all year long, number 1. That shouldn't be happening.
No.
But now that hurts Indiana because every time that happens, that's a slot that's taken away from them. Now, if Indiana were to beat Michigan State, it doesn't matter. I don't care what anybody else does. If Indiana is able to pick up 2 more wins, both of them coming in the Big Ten tournament, again, another one of them coming over another quad 1 win. Actually, Ohio State might be a quad 1 win because that would be on the road.
Yeah.
So if they're able to get wins over both those teams, there's no doubt. I have no doubt whatsoever they are in.
How much?
Also in the news, go ahead.
Real quick, how much would it hurt Evan Fitzner to see Indiana not make the tournament after St. Mary steals a bid from Gonzaga?
You would think it would just be ironic, but he probably has more allegiance to St. Mary's than he does Indiana. He spent 4 years there.
You would think.
Celebrities, coaches embroiled in an alleged college entrance cheating scam. Unbelievable. Actresses even getting hung up in this thing. Federal prosecutors charged dozens of wealthy parents, including prominent law and business figures, and 2 Hollywood actresses with using bribes, bogus entrance scores, and faked athletic achievements to get their children into elite colleges. One New York law firm chairman allegedly paid $75,000 for an admissions consultant so his daughter could fly to Los Angeles, take the ACT in a private room last December, accompanied by a proctor who had been paid to correct her errors. Now, how this involves in sports is there are a lot of coaches, big-time coaches. Yale's soccer coach, UCLA's men's soccer coach. It's happened at USC, other places. These people are taking money to list these kids as recruits, as an athletic recruit, so they can have a much easier entrance into the specific college. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars here. The Yale soccer coach took $400,000 for doing this for one player.
One player, just one.
One player. The consultant, I think, was paid $1.2 million for that deal. It's crazy, but the people that this is involving it's pretty wide-reaching and far sweep. I mean, like I said, we got actresses involved, people paying money to cheat, basically.
Do you think the school's athletic departments that are wrapped up in this take a hit, or no? Because it's pretty.
Of course not.
It seems pretty easy to plead ignorance in this case.
Well, yeah, on this one it is. They were taken advantage of. If it can be shown that they knew anything, but to my knowledge, they don't. Yeah. They haven't. But it's costing a lot. I mean, UCLA's soccer program is a prominent soccer program.
Yeah.
One that crosses paths with Indiana a lot. They're a very, very prominent program. Oh, well, there you go. There's that. Hey, the Big Ten tournament is underway. Games yesterday. What were the results? No, tonight. It starts tonight, rather.
Yeah.
Northwestern. Who plays who?
You've got Nebraska and Rutgers. They started off at 6:30, and that'll be followed by Northwestern Illinois.
The two premier games of the Big Ten tournament happen tonight, so if you don't see tonight, you might as well not watch the rest of the tournament. These are the two best games of the tournament.
Not sure that I will see tonight.
I'm just kidding. I'm being totally facetious about that. Indiana's underway tomorrow, noon 30, taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Of course, you can catch that game right here. You don't have to go anywhere. 12:30 is game time, Eastern time. 11:30 Eastern time is pregame. Don Fisher, of course, on the call. So you don't have to go anywhere right here. And then following the next day, if Indiana wins, once again, you don't have to go anywhere. Noon 30 again. It's going to be a nice breakup in the work week for some folks if they can get away. But if Indiana is able to beat the Ohio State Buckeyes tomorrow, they will take on Michigan State on Friday for a third time. And Michigan State welcomes Nick Ward back into the fold, as Ohio State has welcomed Mr. Wesson back. So none of this is going to be easy for Indiana, but they're playing their best basketball, and they just don't have a choice. It's win or go home. It's that simple. Indiana is in the NCAA tournament right now. They're just having to play more games. They might as well consider themselves in the tournament, because it is, from now on, it is win or go home to a degree. Yeah. If they can win 2 games, after that they're fine. But up until that, it's win or go home in this Big Ten tournament. Period.
Speaking of Caleb Wesson, Tim texted in and asks, how convenient is it that Wesson comes back in time to play in the Big Ten tournament? Was his return scheduled, or did the coach think he needed him to win to make the NCAA tournament?
Well, I don't know that it was scheduled, but I don't know that it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
It was never said that he was suspended for the rest of the season. So maybe that was the plan all along, was to suspend him for the regular season and bring him back for the tournament. Of course, winning is much, much difficult without your best player or one of your best players. But I don't know that was – they're not bringing it back because they're playing Indiana.
Right.
I mean, so it was probably planned that way to begin with, I would imagine. It would have been nicer for Indiana because it would have been easier.
Right. I mean, and the dude did miss 3 games.
And they lost all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Nick Ward's coming back for Michigan State. I don't know that his absence hurt them that much, because Xavier Tillman played pretty daggone well. He did a heck of a job in his absence.
I would agree with that, but Tillman's not the big body that Nick Ward is. So Nick Ward, I think, is more of an issue for Indiana. Guys like Deron Davis have to work a little harder, and Jawan. I thought Jawan had an easier time with Xavier Tillman, but We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, that's probably true. I mean, there's a reason that Ward was starting.
Yeah.
He was a 2-year starter. There's a reason for that. Hey, hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Questions, comments. Keith Landers on the show today. Matt Weaver's on the show. Questions for either of those guys. Fire those in. What do you think of Indiana's chances? Jay Billis was on yesterday. He doesn't have the same. He's an ACC guy.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't see the Big Ten as strong. Now, the Big Ten is not as strong as the top as, say, the ACC. I mean, you'd have to be an idiot to say. You would be an idiot to say that. ACC has got Virginia, Duke, and North Carolina.
3 in the top
at
5.
The top.
Yeah.
3 in the top 5 teams. Now, does that mean they can't be beat? Of course not. They've all been beaten. But they're all 3 really, really good teams. Michigan State was a really good team, but they got hurt. I mean, Duke got hurt a little bit, but Zion's coming back. Michigan, they're a good team, but they're not a superstar team. I don't think Michigan could win because they don't have a superstar.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's a requirement, but you need a guy who's going to be a star. A star team needs a star player. I think you can get away with some stuff by not having it, like Michigan did. They made it all the way to the championship game last year, but they couldn't win it all, and they can't win it all now. Yes, can they go on a run? Of course, but they don't have a superstar, and I think you need that. It doesn't matter what team. Michigan State, you got Winston. Purdue, you got Carson Edwards. Indiana, Romeo Langford or Jawan. But you got to have a guy that can go off. And I just don't see them having that, and I don't see them being able to win the national championship because of that. I don't see anybody in the Big Ten capable of winning the national championship this year personally, because Michigan State has lost Josh Langford. They're pretty good, but I don't know, man. I just without him, I just don't know that they're quite good enough for that.
It would take a miracle run.
And other than that, there's nobody in the Big Ten that I see getting to the Final Four other than those 2 teams. But you never know. Somebody gets on a run, and that's all it takes. The right matchup is all it takes. The right matchup. I'll tell you something I want to talk about. How about Romeo Langford getting screwed as freshman of the year in the Big Ten? Brazikis for Michigan, great freshman, great year, no doubt. But Romeo beat him hands down in every category. Yeah. Playing on a team that was not exactly at its best. And that is exactly why he didn't win this, because he's not on a good team. We'll talk about this a little bit more later on, and I'll talk about it with Keith Lander as well. But he didn't win because he's not on a great team, and it's crap. There's no doubt he was the best freshman this year. He's leading every daggone category.
Yeah.
It's not even close. It's ridiculous. But it is what it is. Hey, we got a break. We got a lot more coming up. Matt Weaver's with us from Peegs.com. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a
Today's
hand?
guest is brought to you by
that
Reynolds
tree,
Family
remember?
Dentistry.
No matter how
$1
large
million smile for those
or small
championship photos, and
your
that's
digging
exactly what
project
you'll
may
get
be,
with
no
Reynolds
matter
Family
how
Dentistry.
urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project.
Yeah, welcome back.
811 is our
Sports
national
Beat. Thanks a lot
one-call
for joining
number,
us here on
alerting
this
your local utility
halfway
companies
point
to
of the
come
week.
out and mark any lines they
Wednesday
have near
edition.
your dig site. You must
Joined
call
out by our good friend
811 at
Matt
least
Weaver
2
from
to 3 business
Geeks.com.
days before.
Matthew, how's your week going, man?
It's going okay. How are you guys doing?
Getting by, waiting for spring. Since spring football is here, I'm waiting for the spring weather, although it's not been terrible. But spring ball definitely underway. Is second week as the Indiana Hoosiers are kicking things around. How's it going? What has been any revelations? Nothing big comes out of this time of year, really, does it?
No, not a ton. They're off this week because of spring break. They had 4 practices last week, and then by per NCAA rule, you can't practice during your spring break. So they practice 4 times, take a week off, and then they come back, and they'll get back on the field next Tuesday. But the biggest thing, for spring ball is if there's any newcomers, obviously, you want to kind of see how they're transitioning and how they're doing. And then you just kind of I kind of like to see, how the guys look physically, have they had a good off season in the weight room and in conditioning and that kind of stuff. And, as far as that stuff goes, I think everybody looks like they've had a great off season. And talking to Coach Ballou, when we got to talk with him, he was very pleased with how the off season is going for the majority of the team. So, and then maybe see how guys who were banged up or injured, how they're coming along, and there's a few guys that are still coming off injuries and rehabbing, but nothing concerning or something that's out of the ordinary or wasn't expected. So, and then you just kind of want to see on the practice field, where's the mindset and the mentality, and I think I mentioned it last week. The intensity that I saw in practice, especially considering they weren't padded practices, their first one was Thursday. I was not able to attend that one, but their first one was Thursday. But the fact that they weren't pad practices and the intensity was really high was encouraging.
That and absolutely, they're looking to implement a new offense into this for this team as Kalen DeBoer, the new offensive coordinator, comes along. A couple of new offensive pieces, or not a couple, but with some new recruits, obviously. But also at the quarterback room, we've talked about extensively. A lot of excitement there with Jake Tuttle in there, Michael Penix, who's rehabbing from his injury. From everything I've heard, he's rehabbing pretty well with that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you didn't know that he had knee surgery, I don't know that you'd be able to tell. He's not cleared for team activity. So anytime they basically do 11-on-11 full team stuff, he's not out there. But they do like 7-on-7 and all the individual stuff, and really most of the practice he's able to participate. It's just when they go to team stuff, which obviously is an important part of practice, but he's still getting to kind of dive into the new offense on certain things they do and learn it and all that stuff. But obviously the arm strength is still really impressive, and he's moving around well. As far as with his knee, I mean, he does have a little bit different brace on. All quarterbacks wear braces on their plant legs to protect it. His is a little bit different than the other two, which is to be expected. But he's, like I said, he's, from what Dave Ballou said, Coach Ballou said, he is ahead of schedule in his rehab and doing very well.
That's always a great sign, especially for the offense, as to see what they can get done with that next year. Has anyone seen Jack Tuttle? Has he been able to participate much?
Yeah, he's doing as much as him and Peyton Ramsey are basically when they in a lot of the stuff obviously they share the reps among three guys, but in team stuff, it's there's only three quarterbacks on the team right now. Peyton Ramsey, Jack Tuttle, and Michael Penix. So when they go to team stuff, there's only two guys getting reps, and so he's got a ton of reps. You can see the talent. I think at times there's probably a little bit of rust, a little bit of pressing, but the arm talent is evident. He moves well. I call him he's athletic in the pocket, which to me means he moves around well and still maintains that kind of athletic base when he has to kind of maybe get flushed out or step up or go side to side in the pocket. His arm's actually it's not Penix's arm, but it's a good arm, and it's actually a little bit better than I thought it was. Not that I think he didn't have a good arm. It's stronger than I thought. He's really can put some zip on the ball, and like I said, they've done some read options. The quarterbacks don't get hit, so anytime a guy gets anywhere near him, they blow it dead. But you can see he does a good job on the read option, and he can run a little bit. He's not going to break off any huge runs, but he can definitely be a factor in the run game. When it comes to the read option play. So I think so far, I think he's doing pretty well. I'm sure there's been some mistakes, which is to be expected, but it's nice to have another talented guy back there under center.
Talking with Matt Weaver from Peace.com. It sounds like it's going to be a hell of a quarterback battle between Penix and Tuttle. I know that Peyton Ramsey's there, but truth be told, it just sounds like it's going to be just a hell of a knockdown drag out between those two strong-arm guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Peyton Ramsey's not going to give up a spot without a fight. And, he's everything you want in a player. The kid he cares so much. He works so hard. He's a consummate, kind of professional as far as how he prepares and does everything off the field and then once he gets on the field. But as we've talked about it, it's just there's a ceiling there with his physical abilities and it's we saw last year at times. It really impacted what they could do offensively and how consistent, productive they could be. So, while I think he's going to be a factor, if these other two play up to their, the other two, meaning Jack Tuttle and Michael Penix, if they play up to their ability, they know the offense, which I see no reason why they won't. They're going to be tough to beat out. And I hate to say it's going to be a two-man race this early, but it would be hard to argue that as well.
And I know there are a lot of emphasis has been talked about the offense, but the defense is coming back around as well, and a lot of talk there because you have a new named defensive coordinator, so some changes are going to be there, but everything else is pretty much going to be the same. But this is a time for them to shine. They got a great secondary coming back, and this should be a much better season for them defensively than it was last year.
Yeah, and I think last week I mentioned, one of the things that really stood out to me in the first couple practices was the secondary and, the speed and athleticism at corner and safety. I mean, they were really, the first practice on Saturday I went to, and they kind of, I won't say they had their way, but they definitely got the better of the offense, which was, like I said, to be expected. You have an offensive personnel that's, learning a new scheme and doing something for the first time. Now, the offense is not totally different from what they ran. It's just the terminology and all that kind of stuff. But the defense was really impressive, flying around, no hitting. But just even in like 7-on-7, which is usually where you see offense kind of have the upper hand, they were making plays and getting to the ball and knocking stuff away. So that secondary is really talented. I like the linebacker core. To me, it's, how stout can the D-line be, and a guy that's, once again, not hitting, but just the way he's moving and stuff. Juan Harris has returned to the program. He's really been he looks great physically, and he's looked great in practice, moving around. And he's going to be a big key because that's, that big body in the middle of the D-line who can take up blockers and allow those linebackers and safeties to run around and make plays. It's going to be important, and I've liked what I've seen so far. And I like to see him in full pads and see how he's doing, but I would expect him to have a good season for IU.
It's got to be a little odd starting spring practice and having it for a week and then taking a week off.
Yeah, they started doing this, and I think I think other programs do this too. I mean, I know Kevin Wilson did this. I can't remember what year it was. It was maybe a second or third year at IU, if I remember right, he did it the year that he made a DC change, and it kind of gave them a chance to have some practices and then go watch film and kind of see, what they liked, what they didn't like. I don't know if that's the case, whether they're this year. This is just how Indiana's done it now for the last, I can't remember how many years. They started before spring break, and then taking that week off. Yeah, it's, to me, I think as a coach, your biggest concern this week is, because their guys they're off. That, some guys, if they actually do the spring break, they go down to Florida or they go do stuff, is that, they don't do anything stupid. They stay safe, and, they come back and everybody's okay. But, it does give you the benefit of watching some film, sitting down, especially for the offensive staff, since they're in a new system with a new OC, watching film, seeing what you liked, what you didn't like, what you need to focus on when you come back. And that also applies to the defensive side, but obviously they're a veteran group. They've been in the system now for a few years. So there's not really anything new. But yeah, I would think it's a little bit different, especially for the players. I always wonder how that first practice is after they come back from spring break, because I know how I was when I was coming back from spring break. It took you a few days to get back out of that mode, so I'm sure that first practice might be a little bit sloppy, but that's how it goes.
Took you a few days to get over that hangover is what it took.
True. Very true.
Matt Weaver, appreciate you, man. We'll have lots more to talk about next week, hopefully, as spring ball resumes for Indiana as they heading towards the spring game on was it April 12th?
April 12th at 7 o'clock. Yep, Friday night.
April 12th, 7 o'clock, Friday night. Can't wait. Matt Weaver, thanks, sir. Appreciate you.
Okay, thanks, guys. Take care.
You bet. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com joining us, talking some spring ball. Not a lot to talk about. They're off this week, spring break. I find that a little odd because it's such a short deal, and to have it broken up like that, kind of odd. But
what, the fact that they're not practicing?
Yeah, that you start and you have it a week,
and then
you take off and you come back for 2 more weeks.
It's weird.
It's just it's an odd deal. I'm not used to that. And usually short sessions like that, spring session, they just run it through completely in one deal. But the basketball program back up and on it tomorrow. The Big Ten tournament starts for the Hoosiers. They'll take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Caleb Weston's back for Ohio State. It's going to be a tougher task than it previously seen, but it is what it is, and the Indiana has to do what they have to do, and that's win. It's just pure and simple. You just have to win. Now, the reward for that is if they can get by Ohio State is to take on, for a third time, the Michigan State Spartans with Nick Ward, who he'll be back for them on Friday. That game also at 12:30, if it comes to be for Indiana. Of course, tomorrow's game right here at 12:30 is the game time. Pre-game starts an hour before that with Don Fisher, so you can tune in. That's 12:30 Eastern time. If you're in the Central Time Zone, of course, make the adjustment. Yeah. But also, we heard from several of the players in Archie yesterday, but you got anybody queued up?
I don't have them queued up, but I could probably do it quickly.
But Archie he's ready to get moving forward. I know he took a hit this year when his team went through the doldrums that they went through. A lot of people calling for his job. Some people are, which is ridiculous. But I'm sure that did not make his job any easier.
No.
Then you got the fact we got the announcement of Keon Brooks coming on Friday. And
I had forgot about that.
What's that?
I had forgot about that.
Hey, it's all kinds of stuff coming, but Indiana had gone from being the favorite to not so much. And I look forward to we've got Keith Lander coming up next. Yeah. Talking to him, he's the father of Christian Lander, and one of the things I'm going to ask him is about the social media aspect and all that stuff. But we've got plenty more coming back. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch specials. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
And welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for traveling with us here on this midway point of the week. Joined now by our good friend Keith Lander from Evansville area. Keith, obviously the father of Christian Lander, a 5-star recruit out of Evansville Wrights High School. Keith, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How you fellas doing today?
Good. It was a long season. Basketball season still going in Indiana, the tournament season, obviously, but Wrights was knocked out, as so many of the teams were this year, surprising. But a great season for you guys, man, for Christian, and a good year for him.
Yeah, I would say so. A little bit up and down, like I thought. We talked earlier right before the season started, and I said that I didn't know exactly how it was going to turn out because of the youth. But, we had some rocky times, but at the end of the year, I felt like we started to show that we were making a lot of progress and that they'd be back at least next year ready to go.
Yeah, it's a lot of when you're the guy, and obviously when you have a team or a talent like Christian Lander, you're going to have a big target on your back, and I think it's like something that Indiana deals with when you go places. When you're that name, you're going to get everybody's best shot, and I'm sure that's something that Christian has to start dealing with now. Every gym he goes into, he knows that they know who he is, and he's going to get everybody's best shot.
Definitely. I mean, there were times where they were just making, other teams were just trying to make sure they got the ball out of Christian's hands, knowing that if he was the one that initiated any kind of action on the offensive end, specifically that it'd be a problem. But if they got the ball out of his hands, that would be their best shot to be successful.
Absolutely, and what. Only being a sophomore, it's a marvelous job because that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of added pressure, not just with the added pressure of what he's going to be facing on the court, because that's going to be ramped up. But actually, when you carry that name, and that comes a lot of pressure mentally. And he seems like he just went through the season just like any other season this year.
Absolutely, I was very proud of the way he handled all the attention and all the craziness that was going on with him this year.
something that was new to him and all of us. So I was very, very pleased and proud of the way he handled it this year.
Talking with Keith Lander out of Evansville, father of Christian Lander. One of the things that this year's come about is, Indiana had a streak where they obviously lost 12 of 13 games. Just had the injuries just compiled. And if people don't think injuries matter, look at how different this team is now that they're healthy. But when they were going through that, social media was getting set ablaze. As a parent of a recruit, do you pay attention to that stuff, or does it even play in at all? Are you able to ignore that kind of stuff?
Oh, I pay attention as far as being a fan, but not as, my son being a recruit. Honestly, that kind of thing is something that is built over time, as far as, building that relationship, and things might not be exactly the way you want them to all the time. And at times when he goes to school, they're not going to be always going the way he wants them. So he's got to learn and understand that things, you have to make adjustments. And I guess he's seeing, firsthand that, a team like IU is, come together at the, I don't want to say the right time, because it seems like it was a little bit too late, but hopefully they do what they need to do in this Big Ten tournament so they can get an NCAA tournament. But seeing how you can come together as a team and start playing well together.
And is he able to learn also things like, obviously Indiana is a team with a lot of talent. You got a great coach in Archie Miller. Archie Miller did not forget how to coach all of a sudden. The injuries obviously decimated that team. And to see them be able to come back around, is he able to learn from afar from things like that, from what Indiana had to endure this year?
Absolutely. I think so. We have our little talks about when the games happen and what we've seen and what we're seeing different now, latter part of the season with IU. Honestly, I think he is. I think he definitely is taking notice of what's happening and that he's learning from a lot of different things that's going on, specifically going on with IU.
And it's got to be, again, a lot of pressure for him, not only being this named recruit, but to be a recruit for teams that are recruiting him now, Indiana and Kansas and Michigan, Kentucky, all these teams. Once you get labeled with those teams, man, everywhere you go, it's like the other team has a chip on their shoulder to play you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned before, it's like everybody's, the crowds at the definitely away. When you get on the road, these other teams and other schools are every time he touches the ball, it's some kind of chant that they're doing, or in warm-ups they're giving him a hard time or whatever. But like I said, I was very proud of how he handled all this pressure this year. Honestly, being that young, for one, and for two, you can be a pro and that type of pressure get to you. And I was pleased and like I said, proud of the way he handled it this year.
Absolutely. We're talking with Keith Lander, father of Christian Lander, 5-star recruit from Evansville. And how has it helped his game having to deal with all these? Because it's a lot of distraction. It's a lot of distraction being this big-time recruit. It's a lot of distraction being a player who's going to get that kind of attention in every gym that you go in. How has he been able to use that to improve his game?
Just being able to mentally prepare for games. I'm not going to act like that he's just, perfect every time he steps out on the court with how he approaches the game, but you can tell that in different situations he's able to mentally prepare. I just talked to him. It was kind of crazy because I just talked to him yesterday about it, and I was telling him that, the more he develops his mental approach to the game, the more you're going to see his game, start to elevate. Because I feel like that he already really, not already, like he has all the tools, but his tools as far as his skill set are really good. And when he's able to mentally focus every game the same way, you're going to start seeing some things that I won't be surprised, but I think a lot of people are going to be surprised to see. But definitely, I think his mental approach is starting to develop in how he approaches the game with the pressure and how teams attack him.
And do you think it's an advantage for him to have been noticed early on? As a freshman, he just finished his sophomore year, but he got to go through his sophomore year with all this pressure, with all this opportunities to learn and to grow. And do you see that as a bigger advantage for him to have that now, so he can continue to grow these next 2 years of high school before he even gets to college?
Absolutely. I think there's some advantages to it. I'm not going to lie. When we first started going through this, I was a little nervous on how he would react to it. I just have to be completely honest. I didn't know for sure how he would react because, like I said, this is new to him. So he definitely, I think, benefited from, I guess you want to say, quote unquote, like a different stage for him, and understanding the pressure and being able to go through that and learning how to actually deal with that on a night-to-night basis. And I think it's definitely helped him as far as, pressure situations and being able to perform in those situations.
And then as a parent, what have you guys learned going through this experience? Because it's a learning experience for everybody, including you guys, because you're going through all this stuff for the first time with him as you go, and you're there to guide him. But there's a lot for you guys to learn as well.
Absolutely. You just have to be really patient and also not quick to react to everything, because you're hearing everything and you're seeing everything on social media. Everybody has something to say, good and bad, but the bad things is kind of what you unfortunately hear and focus on more than anything, because it's your child, and at the end of the day you don't want anybody talking bad or saying anything in a negative light towards your children. So when you hear stuff like that, it kind of gets to you a little bit, but at the end of the day, we've tried our best to be patient and understand that, everybody doesn't know Christian. Like, everybody doesn't know him. So everybody doesn't know what he goes through and what he does on a day-to-day basis. So we just have to, just understand that we know we're trying to do the right thing, and everything will work itself out, not worry about all the outside noise and all that stuff that's going on outside.
And we talked about all the pressure and all that stuff, but there's a lot of fun involved too. This stuff has got to be a great time. He's getting to go to games. He was just at the Indiana game. He's going up to Michigan recently. Getting to go to these places, it's a lot of that's got to be a lot of fun in that too. Getting to see some of these environments and be involved in some of these big time games.
Absolutely. I thank him all the time when I'm able to go with him on these visits and these trips, because it's something that I've never seen before. And as a sports fan, I'm in awe also when we get to go to some of these places and places that I've watched as a kid, watching basketball and football games. It's definitely an enjoyable time. I would have to say that at this point of the recruiting process that we're having fun and enjoying the ride so far.
And what's it like when you are at one of these places, a big-time atmosphere, like in Indiana or in Kansas or in Michigan? And what are some of the differences between those programs and places that you've seen?
It's just an aura about them. When you can step into the gym or out into the stadium, and you can just feel the energy. Honestly, you really can when you go into those places and see how the crowd is backing their teams, and it's just something that you can't really explain it until you've actually gone there and experienced it. But absolutely, it's just an electric atmosphere and definitely enjoyable and fun time right now when we're going on these trips and these visits. Man, it's pretty awesome.
Talking with Keith Lander. Do you remember the first time that you and Christian went to, say, Assembly Hall? Do you remember what his impressions of that was like?
Actually, it was one of the first big time gyms that he went to, as far as, being, a recruit and being able to, like, I guess you say the first time he went there, he was just kind of like it was done as a favor, like the kids got to go to a game or whatever. Last year when he went to the Duke game, it was done as hey, we got this kid, he's pretty good, what about him getting up to a game or whatever? It was that type of thing at the beginning, but at the end of the day, it was something that he was in amazement about. He went to the IU Duke game last year, and he was just in awe about it. He came home and talked about it forever. And he still mentions it and talks about it. So, I mean, going in there that first time and being able to experience that atmosphere with, going against Duke and that being a really good game, actually. So, he loves it. He's enjoying it right now, and I'm glad that he's able to. And like I said, with the pressure that comes along, he's got to, be able to enjoy some of this, because I mean, it would be really bad situation if it was all pressure and everything was bad about it. But he's definitely having a good time, and we are too as parents and family going through this process with him.
That's an incredible thing to hear. We're talking with Keith Lander, father of Christian Lander, a 5-star recruit from Evansville. And how is these experiences for Christian? How has he used it to further push himself to be as good as he can be? Because I know that every time you're around these situations and these scenarios and these players, it's got to push you to want to get to that level. And I know that he's a competitor, but how has it helped him in that regard?
Just seeing that actually, some of his dreams and things can come true, because he's actually right there. He just has to maintain and start and begin and continue to get better with every day he goes out on that court, every day he goes to a practice, every day he watches film, every day he looks at a playbook, that he has to be getting better and starting, and be continuing to learn. He understands that, he doesn't know everything, but at the same time, he's actually seeing that in front of him. He goes to these places, he goes to the locker room and sees some of these guys that, are at a certain level, and he's wanting to definitely get to that level.
As a father, how incredible is it for you to see your son's dreams play out right in front of him, to see all this stuff happen? That's got to be just an amazing thing for you.
Crazy amazing. I think he's had a couple of interviews here and there, and at the end of the day, he always says that, he never thought it would actually come like this, and really not this early, So for that to happen, and it's just amazing to see, and a testament to how, his hard work has paid off, and how he has continued to progress and get better, and all those things that he comes home, he's sore, and comes home, he's tired, and he still has to do homework, and, he wants to go out with his friends, but, he has to take care of the stuff that he needs to take care of. And it just shows him that, hey, this stuff is paying off, man. And if you continue to do it, it'll continue to pay off.
Absolutely. And then what's the summer going to entail for Christian? And lots of more basketball, I'm sure.
Absolutely. AAU, maybe a couple camps. I don't want to get to doing too much. We just want to make sure that we're doing the right things and trying to pick the right, venues to go to, far as, camps and things like that. Definitely it's easier when all those dates have been set. We have a few coming up, but we definitely want to make sure that he's getting his rest also, stepping away from the game just a little bit. I had to actually make him take the week after the sectional loss off. After all said and done, he was happy that he did.
Chronic Hoosiers, I will see you on the radio.